Welcome, everyone, to English Phrases Hub. I'm really happy you're joining us today.
Hello.
Today, we're looking closely at some source material that tackles something many English learners find, well, a bit challenging.
Uh-huh. But also really rewarding, right?
Exactly. How to start a conversation with someone new. It's a topic that resonates with so many people, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, starting a conversation, it can feel surprisingly tricky.
It really can.
And for anyone navigating English as an additional language, well, it can feel especially intimidating sometimes.
Absolutely. So many people feel shy or, awkward, or they worry about making mistakes. But here's where it gets really interesting, based on the research in your sources.
Yeah.
That feeling of nervousness is totally normal. It's incredibly common, even for native speakers.
Right.
One piece of research you included highlights that 2 in 3 Americans think small talk is awkward.
Wow, 2 and 3.
Yeah. And 70%, get this, 70% would rather just sit in silence.
That statistic is fascinating, isn't it? It really shows you are definitely not alone if you feel a bit nervous.
Not at all.
And what's also clear from the material is that pushing past that initial hesitation, well, it has huge upsides.
Like what?
Making new friends, building professional connections, or sometimes just having a pleasant interaction. It all counts.
And another compelling finding from the research you provided.
Hmm.
People often report being happier after chatting with a stranger than if they'd stayed quiet.
Exactly.
It suggests we sort of overestimate how badly it might go.
We do. The fear is often worse than the reality. And the good news, as highlighted in the materials, is that starting conversations is a skill.
Ah, okay. So you can get better at it.
Absolutely. It improves with practice.
Okay. So before we really get into how-to, let's quickly define our terms, because they're used throughout your sources. Small talk. What is that exactly?
Right. So small talk just refers to that light, casual conversation, usually about simple, non-controversial topics, nothing too heavy.
Got it. And an icebreaker.
An icebreaker is more specific. It's like a phrase or maybe even an action that's really designed to ease that initial tension.
Okay.
Or just break the silence when people first meet. Hence, break the ice.
Right. Makes sense. Think of small talk as a bridge, then. That's how one source put it.
A bridge, I like that.
Yeah, it's not usually the main destination, maybe, but it gets you across that initial awkward gap to potentially more meaningful conversations.
Exactly. And one source noted that 91% of Americans believe small talk can actually lead to real connection. So it's worth doing.
So what's important not to do, based on these insights, maybe putting too much pressure on it.
Yes, exactly. Don't put too much pressure on the outcome of that first interaction. The goal of an opener really is just to open the door.
Right.
A short, friendly chat is a success in itself. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering.
And if you're someone who feels, shy or maybe more introverted, the advice seems consistent across the board. Start small.
Start small.
Maybe just a smile, a nod first,
Yeah.
and then add a simple greeting when you feel a bit more ready.
That's great advice. And another really practical tip found in your sources for managing that initial anxiety is projecting positivity with your body language.
How so?
Well, a smile, making some relaxed eye contact, keeping your arms uncrossed. These outward signals can surprisingly help you feel calmer,
Huh, interesting.
and they also make you appear more approachable to the other person. It's a win-win.
So kind of fake it till you make it, but it actually helps.
Sort of, yeah. And assume the interaction will go reasonably well. Just try to have that positive expectation.
And remember, the other person might also be feeling a bit nervous.
Exactly. They might even be relieved that you took the initiative.
Okay, so based on all this material, our mission in this deep dive is really to equip you with practical insights, some key phrases,
Yeah.
to feel more confident just saying hello. We'll go through, like you said, a toolkit of phrases, look at different scenarios, social, work, travel, online, and even do some practice together,
Yeah.
all drawn from the sources you've given us.
Sounds like a plan.
We'll keep the pace clear, conversational, perfect for intermediate to advanced English learners who are ready to, put this knowledge into practice, ready to jump into that toolkit.
Absolutely. Let's gather those tools.
All right, based on the materials, here's your essential conversation starter toolkit. Tool number 1. It's the most basic, but fundamental. A simple greeting and introduction.
Exactly. Can't go wrong with this. A friendly hello or hi, maybe a smile, and just stating your name, I'm your name.
Right.
Often just saying, hi, I'm Jake is enough. The other person will typically respond with their name, and, well, the conversation has begun. Simple as that.
Yeah. Hello, my name's Emma. Depending on the specific context, you might add something like, I don't think we've met before, right?
Mm-hmm. Or if you're entering a shared space, maybe like joining a table. Mind if I join you?
Good one. Okay, tool number 2, found across multiple sources. Ask a simple question.
Yes, this works because, well, people generally enjoy sharing about themselves or giving an opinion.
Okay.
We can break these down into, say, situational questions and light personal questions.
Situational.
Mm,
So, tied to where you are.
exactly. Tied directly to the environment you both share. So if you're waiting for a bus, one article suggests asking, has the bus been running late today?
Okay. Yeah.
At a party, maybe. Have you tried the cake? It's really good.
Right.
At a conference, what did you think of the last speaker? They're easy because the topic is literally right there in front of you.
And, of course, the weather. That came up a lot.
Ah, yes, the classic. It's mentioned everywhere because it's universally relatable, isn't it?
Totally.
Beautiful day, isn't it? Or can you believe all this rain we're having? It just creates an instant shared experience you can comment on.
Okay. And for light personal questions, what's safe territory there?
Keep it appropriate for a first chat. Things like, where are you from? That's usually fine. What do you do for a living? Meaning your job. Or what are you studying if you're maybe in a university setting?
Right.
Or at a party, like we said, how do you know the host? That's always a good one.
But the key is keeping it light, right? No deep secrets.
Definitely. Remember, the advice is keep these light. Topics like work, studies, general background, where someone's from, that's all good. Anything too sensitive, detailed finances, personal problems, not for initial small talk.
Got it. Tool number 3, find and mention common ground.
Yes. If you already know you share something, use it. It's like a shortcut.
How so?
Well, say you see their band t-shirt. Hey, I love that band. Great choice.
Oh, okay.
Or if you're both in the same class or in the same marketing workshop, right? How are you finding it?
So it gives you an immediate, easy topic.
Exactly. And you can also discover common ground by asking those initial questions we talked about, like, what brings you here? Or how do you know people at this event? Their answers might reveal something you have in common.
Okay, makes sense. Tool number 4. This one was widely recommended in your sources. Give a compliment.
Yes, a genuine, appropriate compliment. It's a fantastic icebreaker.
Why does it work so well?
Well, it simply makes people feel good, doesn't it? And it shows you're observant and positive.
Like what kind of compliment?
Could be anything appropriate. I love your shoes. Those are really cool. Or in a professional setting, maybe, your presentation was excellent, really clear.
Okay.
You could even compliment something less direct, like an interesting name. Or comment on something you overheard that relates to you, like, excuse me, I heard you say you're from Toronto. I've always wanted to visit there. As long as it's sincere, it's usually a positive start.
Right, sincerity is key. One tip we saw, I think, from Chris Americos suggested combining a compliment with an introduction.
Oh, yeah. How would that work?
Like, your English is great. Hi, I'm Emma.
Oh, that's clever. I like that. Or, that's a great jacket. Where did you get it? I'm Jake, by the way.
See? It flows really naturally.
It does.
Let's also revisit the idea of open-ended questions. Your sources really stress how important these are for keeping a conversation going.
Absolutely. Because a closed question, well, it can often be answered with just yes or no.
Right, like, are you enjoying the event? Yes. End of story.
Potentially, yeah. Whereas an open-ended question invites a longer response like, what do you think of the event so far? Or, what do you do for fun?
So open-ended questions give the other person more opportunity to share, which stops the chat from just fizzling out.
Exactly. Now, closed questions can work, but they often need a follow-up question immediately after to keep things moving.
Okay. So if they say, yes, I'm enjoying it, you could quickly follow up with something open like, oh, good. What's been your favorite part so far?
Precisely. That follow-up shows you're listening and you're interested. Using words like how, why, or phrases like tell me more about are great for this.
And that leads perfectly to another crucial piece of advice from the sources. Conversation is a two-way street.
Like a game of ping pong, one source said.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Don't just fire questions one after another.
Right. You need to respond to their answers, maybe share a little bit about yourself too. Use those little phrases that show you're engaged, like me too. Oh, really? That's interesting.
Active listening, basically.
Active listening, exactly.
Okay, one final piece of advice for openers. This seems especially relevant online, but maybe useful in person too. Contextualize your opening.
What do you mean by contextualize?
Well, just saying hi out of the blue can be a bit confusing, right? Especially online. You need to give a reason.
Okay. So online, you might say, "Hi, I saw your post in the travel forum about Spain. I'm actually planning a trip there too."
Exactly. Gives them the why.
And in person, it might be the introduction itself that provides context, like, "I don't think we've met. I'm Emma. I work in the accounting department."
Or mentioning something relevant you overheard, like we said before. I couldn't help but overhear you talking about photography. I love photography.
Got it. So to recap the toolkit from the materials, simple greetings and introductions,
Asking situational or light personal questions.
finding common ground,
Giving genuine compliments.
using open-ended questions and following up.
And always remembering friendly body language. That seems key.
Those are definitely the core strategies. Now, let's see how we can apply them in specific settings, starting with, say, social situations.
Okay, let's imagine you're at a party, maybe a social gathering, and you might only know the host. How do you actually start talking to other people there?
Right, this can feel a bit daunting. One of the articles suggests, first, just scan the room, look for someone who seems approachable.
What does approachable look like?
Maybe someone standing alone, not already deep in a discussion. Perhaps they have open body language, making eye contact.
Yeah.
Then the advice is pretty simple. Just walk up and say hello.
A straightforward opener for this setting could be, "Hi, I'm Nate. I don't think we've met yet."
Yeah, friendly, direct, works well. Or a classic, highly effective opener in social settings is using that mutual connection. Exactly. Ask, "So, how do you know the host?" This question immediately gives you a shared topic,
Right.
and it helps you find that common ground straight away.
Yeah, discovering how you both know the persons who brought you together, that's a great starting point.
Definitely. Also, feel free to comment on the environment itself.
Like the food or music.
Yeah. "Have you tried these snacks? They're delicious." Or, "This playlist is awesome. I love this band." An example from English Club was really specific. "Have you tried the cabbage rolls?"
Huh, okay. So food and music are usually safe, positive topics at a party.
Almost always. Simple questions about the event work too. "Are you having a good time?" Or, "Enjoying yourself?"
Those usually get a yes, right?
Usually, yeah. They're typically answered positively, which keeps the mood good, and then you can ask a follow-up question.
And if you spot something appropriate to compliment on the person, maybe a cool t-shirt, unique jewelry, go for it.
Yeah, just keep it appropriate. Or if you overhear a snippet of conversation that's relevant to you, you could use that to join in, politely, of course.
Like, "Oh, excuse me, I heard you mention you went to UCLA. I actually went there too."
Exactly like that.
Okay, let's quickly demonstrate this. We'll do a short role play. We're at a party hosted by, let's call her Sarah. I'll initiate.
Sounds good. I'm standing nearby, maybe getting a drink.
Smiling, friendly. "Hi, I don't think we've met yet. I'm Emma."
Smiling back. "Oh, hi, Emma. I'm Jake. Nice to meet you."
"Nice to meet you too, Jake. This is a great party, isn't it? Sarah's place is lovely."
It really is. Yeah, Sarah's a fantastic host. I'm having a lot of fun so far.
Me too. So how do you know Sarah?
Sarah and I actually work together. We've been on the same team for about a year now. How about you?
Oh, cool. She's actually a college friend of mine. We studied together way back when.
Oh, nice. So you go way back then.
We do. Hey, have you tried these little mini quiches? They're amazing. Seriously.
Ooh, not yet, but they look really good. I think I'll
Abs-
grab one now you mention it. Thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. So, Jake, what do you do when you're not attending fantastic parties like this one?
Chuckle slightly. Good question. Well, I'm a software engineer. How about you, Emma?
Oh, wow. I'm a teacher. I teach English, actually.
Oh, really? That's cool. That must be pretty rewarding work.
It is most days. I love it. And software engineering sounds, well, fascinatingly complicated to me.
Huh. Yeah, it can be sometimes, but it definitely keeps things interesting. Looks around briefly. Well, listen, I should probably mingle a bit more, say hi to a few other people I see. But it was really nice meeting you, Emma.
You too, Jake. Enjoy the rest of the party.
Thanks, you too. See how simple that interaction was? It started with the basic introduction, a smile,
Yeah, and a positive comment about the shared environment, the party itself.
which flowed right into that key question for this setting. How do you know Sarah? Finding that common ground.
And from there, we transitioned easily into standard small talk topics like jobs. We kind of balanced asking questions with sharing info.
Yeah, like that conversational ping pong we mentioned.
The comment about the food was just a gentle pivot, kept things light.
And my mentioning wanting to mingle provided a natural and polite way to end that brief chat. Not every interaction has to be long, right?
Exactly. The goal was just to connect for a moment. That's a success.
So the core phrases we use there, "I don't think we've met," "How do you know host?" "Have you tried the food?" and What do you do? Simple stuff.
And keeping it light, keeping it positive, that seems key in social settings.
Okay, let's shift gears. Let's move to a different environment. Professional settings. Think the office, maybe a networking event. The tone here needs to be slightly more, maybe formal, but still friendly.
Right. Monday morning at the office. Or maybe it's your first day. How do the openers change here?
Well, a simple, hi, how are you, or good morning, still works perfectly well.
Okay.
A common and honestly pretty reliable opener with colleagues is asking about their weekend or their day.
Oh, right.
So on a Monday, hey, good morning, how was your weekend? It shows you care beyond just the work tasks.
Yeah, one article highlighted asking, did you do anything fun over the weekend? That could be a great prompt for people to share a little personal story.
Exactly. And on a Friday, you can look ahead. Got any plans for the weekend? Or looking forward to the weekend?
Neutral workplace topics are also safe ground, according to the sources.
Yeah, like commenting on the busyness level. Wow, can you believe how busy we are today?
Or maybe something about the physical environment, like, what do you think of these new office chairs? Or have they fixed the coffee machine yet?
Ah, yeah, relatable office stuff. Now, if you're new, you basically have an automatic opener, a free pass almost.
Which is?
Just say it. Hi, I'm new here. My name is Name. I just started this week in the department. People are usually very welcoming to a newcomer.
That makes sense. It gives them immediate context.
And a great question for a newcomer to ask an existing employee is something like, how long have you been working here? Or maybe, have you been with the company a while?
Why is that a good question?
Well, it subtly acknowledges their experience, it shows respect for their time there, and it often leads to them sharing some insights or stories about the company.
Okay. And what about networking events? That feels a bit different again.
A little, yeah. The introduction usually includes your company name. Hi, I'm Jake. I work at XYZ Corp.
Right.
Then you can follow up with, what do you do? Or which company are you with? If you're at a specific conference session, you could ask, what did you think of the keynote speech this morning?
Name tags are useful here too, aren't they?
Definitely. Use the name and company on the tag as your context. Hi, Name. I see you're with ABC Inc. What kind of work do you guys do there? Or, how are you finding the conference so far?
Okay, let's try a short workplace role play. Imagine I'm the new employee and I meet you in the break room,
All right. Sounds good. I'm just getting my tea.
approaching with a friendly expression. Hi there. I don't think we've met yet. I'm Jake. I just started here this week, actually.
Oh, hi, Jake. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi, Emma. Welcome to the team. Great to have you here.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. I'm really excited to be here. How long have you been working here, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, not at all. I've been here for about 4 years now. I'm over in the communications department.
4 years. Wow. Okay, so you're definitely an expert on the place then.
Laughs gently. Well, I've seen a few things. Seriously, though, if you ever have any questions about anything, just, don't hesitate to ask. Happy to help.
That's really kind of you. Thanks. I might take you up on that. By the way, how's your day going so far? Pretty busy.
It has been busy, yeah, but good. Just grabbing a quick tea break before the next meeting. How about you? Surviving the first week okay?
Definitely busy. Yeah, lots of new names and systems to learn, but everyone's been really helpful, which is great. Oh, actually, I was wondering, do you usually bring your own lunch, or are there good places to eat around here?
Good question. I usually bring mine just out of habit, but yeah, there are a couple of great little spots right around the corner. There's a cafe that does really good sandwiches just down the street.
Oh, good to know. Thanks for the tip. Maybe I'll check that out later this week then.
You definitely should. Well, my tea is ready now. But listen, it was really nice meeting you, Jake. Seriously, welcome aboard.
You too, Emma. Thanks so much for the chat and the welcome.
No problem. See you around. Okay, breaking that down, you started perfectly as the new employee, friendly greeting, introduction, and that crucial context. I just started this week.
Right. And you responded warmly, gave your name, and offered that welcome. Then I used that really good newcomer question, how long have you been working here?
Which, as we said, invites sharing and subtly acknowledges experience, and the offer of help was a nice, welcoming touch, too.
Then we just use that general, versatile question, how's your day going? Works almost anywhere.
It does. And you mirrored that a bit by mentioning your busy morning, showing that shared experience of being busy.
And the question about lunch was specific to the situation we were in the break room, and it led to practical information, that cafe recommendation.
Exactly. Asking about food, coffee, lunch spots at work. It's almost always a safe and relatable topic.
And the ending felt pretty natural, prompted by your tea being ready. Polite closing.
So, key phrases from that workplace scenario. I just started here. How long have you been working here? How's your day going? And asking about routines like, do you usually bring lunch or go out?
Plus, remembering to introduce yourself clearly and the potential to offer or receive help is great for newcomers.
And while, phrases directly about work tasks exist, like, how's that project going? It's for starting conversations with people you don't know well yet. These general friendly openers are usually your best bet.
Right. And at networking events, maybe slightly more focused questions like, so what got you into their industry? Or what do you enjoy most about your work? Can spark deeper replies, but maybe after you've made that initial connection.
Good point. You need to feel the situation. Okay, let's leave the office now and talk about starting conversations when you're traveling or just out in daily life, often with complete strangers. This can feel like the biggest leap for some people.
It definitely can feel that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's often no mutual friend, no shared workplace to give you an easy in. But the potential rewards, like, meeting fascinating people or getting local tips, are really high.
That's something highlighted in the travel resources you provided. The absolute key here, as several sources stress, is being mindful and respectful. You've got to respect the other person's time and space.
Choose your moment carefully.
Exactly. Don't interrupt someone who looks stressed, really busy, or maybe has headphones on and is clearly in their own world.
So look for someone who seems maybe relaxed, perhaps alone in a communal area, like a park bench or a cafe. Maybe someone who makes eye contact.
Yes, those are good signals. Once you find an appropriate person and moment, a question related to the shared situation is often the easiest opener. For travelers talking to other travelers, a real classic is simply, where are you from?
That seems common, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it seen as intrusive?
Generally not in travel contexts, no. It's very common. People are often happy to share a little bit about their home, and it usually leads to a natural follow-up about where you're from.
Okay. What about other location-based questions?
Your sources mention things like, is this your first time here? Or how long have you been in this city country? If it is their first time and it's yours too, boom, you immediately have common ground as fellow newcomers exploring.
That's handy. And what if the person is clearly a local?
Then asking for recommendations is a fantastic strategy, as mentioned in the travel guides.
Like,
Excuse me, do you happen to know a good cafe near here? Or, I'm visiting for a few days. What's a must-see place you'd recommend? Locals often genuinely enjoy sharing advice about their city, especially when a traveler shows genuine curiosity.
that phrase, genuine curiosity, seems important here.
It really is. It shows you're interested in them or their place, not just, trying to fill silence awkwardly.
Okay. And what about with other travelers, say, in a hostel common room or on a long train journey?
Situational comments work well there, too. Long journey ahead, huh? Or maybe, how do you like this hostel compared to others you've stayed in?
And for just, like, strangers in public, waiting in a long queue or at a bus stop that's taking forever?
Right. Commenting on that shared, often slightly annoying experience can break the ice quite effectively. The English Club examples included things like, wow, I didn't expect it to be this busy today, or looks like we'll be here a while, huh?
Kind of bonding over the shared misery.
Exactly. It's a way to sort of commiserate and connect over that common situation.
Okay, let's try a travel role play. Imagine we're both on a train, maybe got a few hours left on the journey. I'll start this time.
Okay, sounds good. I'm settled in my seat, maybe looking out the window.
Smiling gently. Excuse me, is this seat free by any chance?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Go right ahead. Moves the small bag slightly.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Sits down, maybe a brief, comfortable silence.
Yeah.
Phew, looks like we've got a bit of a ride ahead of us, huh?
We certainly do. I think it's about 4 more hours to Springfield. Plenty of time to watch the scenery go by.
Exactly. It's actually quite beautiful today, isn't it? By the way, I'm Jake.
Nice to meet you, Jake. I'm Emma.
Nice to meet you too, Emma. Are you heading all the way to Springfield as well? Or getting off sooner?
No, I'm going all the way. It's actually my first time visiting Springfield. I'm quite excited.
Oh, interesting. Hey, it's my first time too. Small world. I'm really looking forward to seeing the old town square I've heard about.
Me too. I saw pictures online. It looks really charming. So where are you traveling from today, Jake?
I came up from Toronto, Canada this morning. Just doing a bit of traveling around this region for a week or so. How about you?
Oh, wow. Toronto. Nice. I'm from Denver, Colorado. Also doing some traveling, though. I'm actually heading back home from Springfield in a couple of days.
Oh, Denver. I hear that's a beautiful city, especially with the mountains nearby. Are you excited to head back? Or kind of sad your trip is ending?
Yeah. A little bit of both. I've had a great trip, met some lovely people, but home is always nice, too. Toronto sounds amazing, though. I've always wanted to visit Canada.
You definitely should sometime.
Uh,
Well, hey, since we've got a few hours here, maybe we could trade tips or stories about what we've enjoyed on our trip so far, or what we're planning to see in Springfield.
oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'd love that.
Okay, see how that flowed. It started with just a simple, practical, courtesy question about the seat. Very low risk.
Right. Then a situational comment about the shared experience, the long ride. That got a response and opened the door.
And then we introduced ourselves because, well, it seemed likely we'd be sharing this space for a while, so it felt natural.
Definitely. Then came those logical questions about our destination, which led to discovering that common ground, both being first-time visitors.
And the classic, where are you from, followed pretty naturally after that.
Yeah, those initial questions about origin and destination are really standard traveler small talk. They helped us share a bit more about ourselves and our travel plans.
And my final suggestion, to trade tips and stories, gave the conversation a clear topic and purpose for the next little while.
Exactly. And if one of us had been a local, the conversation probably would have naturally shifted towards the local giving recommendations, which is also great.
Now, a really crucial piece of advice emphasized in your sources for these situations: safety.
Yes, absolutely critical. When you're talking to strangers, especially when traveling, you need to stay safe and always trust your instincts.
Most people are friendly, right?
Overwhelmingly, yes. Most people are genuinely friendly and mean well. But if something feels off, or maybe someone starts asking overly personal questions way too soon, it's perfectly okay to keep your answers short or just politely end the conversation. Find an excuse to move away if needed.
So don't feel pressured to share, like, exactly where you're staying or your full itinerary right away.
No, definitely not immediately. Keep things general and friendly at first. Build a little trust before sharing more details.
Yeah, okay, that's important.
But, don't let safety concerns completely prevent you from trying at all. These kinds of conversations can be absolutely wonderful ways to practice your English and create really memorable moments.
And remember that idea of just being curious. Sometimes simply commenting on something interesting someone is doing can be a great opener.
Like what?
Like, excuse me, how are you liking that book? I've been meaning to read it myself.
Right.
Or maybe someone's sketching in a park. Wow, that's a beautiful drawing.
Right. Curiosity combined with kindness. That often seems to be a winning combination, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so we've covered face-to-face. Now let's take these principles online.
Right. More and more communication happens virtually now, doesn't it? On social media, language exchange apps, forums. The principles from your sources are pretty similar, but the delivery obviously is different. That's all typing.
What are the pros and cons there?
Well, the advantage is you definitely have more time to think, to compose your message, maybe edit it before you hit send.
Okay, less pressure in the moment.
Exactly. The disadvantage, though, is you completely lack tone of voice and body language. So your written words have to do all the work they need to be really clear and sound friendly.
So tip number 1, which seems critical in the sources for online chat, always introduce yourself or give context in that very first message.
Yes, this is so important. Just a simple hi or hello from a complete stranger online can feel, well, a bit weird or even slightly suspicious sometimes. People wonder, who is this? What do they want?
Right. So instead of just hi, you need something more.
Definitely. A message saying, hi, I'm Name. I saw your post about topic in the group name forum and I found it really interesting. That works much better.
Gives the reason right away.
Exactly. Or for language practice, maybe. Hello, I'm Name. I'm also learning English and I saw your profile says you are too. Would you maybe like to practice chatting sometime? These immediately provide the why and the context.
So referencing that common interest or context, the forum, the app, the shared hobby is key online, just like mentioning the host at a party is key in person.
Precisely. It tells them why you're reaching out to them specifically.
Okay. What about compliments online? Do they work?
They definitely can, yes. Provided they are, again, sincere and appropriate to the context. Keep it respectful, not overly personal, especially at first.
Examples?
Maybe something like, your profile says you're a fan of classical music, me too, any favorite composers, or that photo you shared at the beach is absolutely stunning. Where was it taken?
Okay. Tip 3. Try to include a question in your opening message if you can.
Yeah, this is a good one. Why? Because a simple statement like, I like your photo, might just get a thanks in reply.
And then the conversation dies.
Exactly. But if you ask, I like your photo of Paris, the light is beautiful, where exactly was that taken? Was it near the river? That invites a more detailed response.
Makes sense. Tip 4. Keep that first message relatively short.
Yes, maybe 1 or 2 clear sentences. You don't want to overwhelm them with a huge block of text right off the bat. Keep it easy to read and respond to.
Good point.
Yeah.
Tip 5. Be patient with replies.
Definitely. People have lives. They might not be online. Avoid sending multiple follow-up messages like, or did you get my message?
Yeah.
If they don't respond right away. Give it some time.
Okay. And tip 6. Be mindful of your tone in text. This seems tricky without voice.
It is. You need to use polite language. Sometimes emojis or smileys can help convey friendliness where your voice and face can't.
Phrasing makes a difference too, right?
Huge difference. Compare just typing recommend English podcasts with something like, hi, I'm looking for some good English podcasts to listen to. I saw you mentioned you enjoy them. Do you happen to have any favorites you could recommend? Thanks.
Yeah.
The second one is much warmer and more likely to get a helpful reply.
Much more polite. And a quick note on clarity, especially for English learners chatting online. Probably best to use full words and standard grammar, right?
Generally, yes. Using you instead of just you remembering please and thank you. Maybe avoid complex slang or abbreviations you aren't 100% sure of, just to prevent misunderstanding. Clarity is key.
Okay. Let's simulate a quick online chat starter, maybe on a language exchange app. You initiate this time.
All right, I'll message you. Typing, hi Jake, my name's Emma. I see from your profile you're learning English too, which is great. Would you maybe like to practice chatting together sometime?
Typing, hi Emma. That sounds great. I'd be happy to practice. Thanks for reaching out. Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
Typing, not at all. I'm from Italy. How about you?
Typing, cool. I'm from Brazil. Nice to meet you.
Typing, nice to meet you too, Jake. So what kind of things do you usually do to practice your English? Do you listen to podcasts much? I find them really helpful. Simulated chat ends. Okay, so you see the pattern there.
Yeah.
I introduced myself, gave the context, we're both learning English on this app, suggested an activity, practice together, and added that smiley to show friendliness.
And I responded positively, introduced myself too, and immediately asked a common, appropriate get-to-know-you question for that context. Where are you from?
Yeah.
And we used clear, complete sentences.
Exactly. And then the conversation could easily flow into finding common ground or a topic to discuss, like how we practice English, which led to the idea of podcasts.
Okay. And on social media, messaging about shared content seems like a good approach. Like, hello, I saw the amazing travel photos you posted from Japan. Japan is super high on my list to visit. How did you enjoy your trip to Tokyo? Any highlights?
Perfect example. Or in a group chat, maybe introducing yourself when you first join. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma from Mexico. I just joined this group because I'm hoping to improve my English vocabulary. Really nice to meet you all.
Simple, clear, gives context. What about professional online contexts like LinkedIn?
Yeah, that might require a bit more formality, maybe commenting on or messaging someone about an article they wrote or shared. But the core idea of having a clear context and a specific, polite reason for reaching out still absolutely remains. You wouldn't just say hi.
Got it. So the online tips summarized. Introduce yourself clearly, state your context or common interest, ask a relevant question in that first message if you can, be polite and mindful of tone, keep it relatively short initially, be patient, and please don't just send a contextless hi.
Exactly. Give people a reason to reply.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground based on the sources you provided. Now, it's time for you, the listener, to maybe put this into practice mentally. This is just a short interactive segment.
Yeah, let's try this.
We'll give you a scenario, we'll pause for maybe 5 seconds for you to think of an opener, and then we'll suggest a few possibilities based on the strategies we've been discussing. Ready?
Give it a try. Scenario 1. You're sitting in a coffee shop. You'd like to chat with the person at the next table. They're alone. They look relaxed. What could you say? Pause 5 seconds.
Okay, what did you come up with? You could maybe comment on something they're doing if it feels appropriate, like, excuse me, I couldn't help but notice you're reading book title. I've heard such good things about that book. How are you liking it so far?
Or, much simpler, just comment on the shared environment. This coffee shop has a really nice atmosphere, doesn't it? Or, wow, their coffee smells amazing today.
Okay, scenario 2. You've just joined a local meetup group. Let's say it's for hiking. You're standing next to someone new before the hike starts. How do you strike up a conversation? Pause. 5 seconds.
All right, maybe a simple introduction with context. Hi, I'm Emma. Is this your first time hiking with this group too? If they say yes, great, you're both newbies together.
Instant common ground.
Exactly. If they say no, you can ask, oh, cool, how long have you been coming? Or, do you hike often?
Or you could comment on the activity itself. This looks like it's going to be a beautiful trail today. Or maybe ask, what made you decide to join this particular hiking group?
Good ones. Scenario 3. You're at a professional event, maybe a conference or a workshop. You're sitting next to someone you haven't met before the session starts. How do you initiate? Pause 5 seconds.
Okay, some safe openers here would include introducing yourself and asking about the event. Hi, I'm Jake. Are you enjoying the workshop so far? Or what did you think of that last session we were in?
You could also ask about their reason for being there, what brought you to this conference. Or, if it's appropriate and maybe visible on a name tag, which company are you with?
All right, last one. Scenario 4. You've just joined an online forum specifically for English learners. You want to write your very first post to introduce yourself to the community. What key information should you probably include? Pause 5 seconds.
Okay, for an online intro post, you could write something like, "Hello everyone, my name's Emma and I'm joining you from Italy. I just found this group and I'm really excited because I'm looking for people to practice my English speaking skills with. Looking forward to chatting with you all."
Or maybe, hi folks, I'm Jake from Brazil. So happy to find this forum. My main goal right now is to learn new vocabulary every week, so any tips are welcome. Hope to talk with you all soon.
So how did you do? We hope you tried thinking of some openers for those situations. Remember, there are many, many possible ways to start conversations. Just thinking about them helps prepare you.
It really does. And practice is absolutely key here. One tip is to actually practice saying some of these phrases out loud, even when you're by yourself.
Yeah. Why does that help?
It just makes them feel a bit more natural, less awkward. When you actually need them in a real conversation, they roll off the tongue easier.
That makes sense. And practicing with a friend or maybe a language partner doing little role plays like we just did, that's an excellent way to build comfort and confidence before you try it out with strangers.
Definitely. Okay, let's do a quick recap then of the key strategies and maybe some of those useful phrases we pulled from your sources.
All right, quick rundown of the core advice from the materials we looked at.
Be friendly and try to project confidence. Smile, make some eye contact, use open body language. It really makes you seem more approachable.
Second, start with simple small talk. Those light topics, the weather, the environment you're in, the immediate situation, they're safe and easy openers.
Third, use those open-ended questions whenever possible. They encourage more than just a yes or no, and remember to follow up on their responses. Keep that conversation ping-pong going back and forth.
Fourth, look for common ground. Ask questions or make observations that might reveal shared interests, experiences, or connections you can build on. That makes conversation much easier.
Fifth, give genuine, appropriate compliments. They make people feel good, they show you're paying attention, and they can easily open the door to a chat.
And sixth, remember to adapt your approach to the setting. Casual social settings feel different from professional networking, which feels different from talking to a stranger on a train, which is different again from online chats. The sources provided specific phrases and strategies tailored for each.
And just to remind you of some of those specific phrases drawn from your sources, categorized loosely, for introducing yourself.
Okay.
Simple stuff like, hi, hello, my name's.
General greetings and questions. Hi, how are you? How's your day going? How's it going? Maybe a bit more informal.
Weather or environment comments. Beautiful day, isn't it? Can you believe this weather? This place is really nice.
For events or social gatherings, how do you know the host? Are you enjoying yourself? Have you tried the food drink? Great party, huh?
For work or school settings, have you worked here long? Did you do anything fun over the weekend? What do you do for a living? What are you studying? Looking forward to the weekend.
For travel or public encounters. Where are you from? This is your first time here. How do you like the city? Wow, the bus is really running late today, huh? That book looks interesting.
Combining compliments with intros. That's a great item. Like a scarf or jacket. Where'd you get it? By the way, I'm Name. I loved your comment in the meeting earlier. Hear your English is really good.
And for online starters, hi, I saw your profile post about topic. Hello, I'm Name. I'd love to practice English together. Hey everyone, I'm new here in the group.
Saying these kinds of phrases out loud, like you suggested, really does help commit them to memory and makes them feel less, foreign when you actually need to use them.
Okay, final thoughts then. Based on the overall insights from your sources, what are the big takeaways?
Well, I think one is, don't be overly afraid of awkwardness. If it happens, it's usually pretty brief, and often only you notice it.
That's true. Most people are actually quite receptive if you approach them kindly and simply. Don't take a short response personally. Maybe they're just busy or shy themselves.
Listen actively. Show you're engaged. Stick to safe, light topics. Initially, weather, surroundings, hobbies, work, travel.
Maybe avoid very sensitive topics with strangers, right? Like politics, religion, personal finances. Probably not great for first chats.
Definitely not. And if you're ever completely stuck, remember a smile, a simple hello, and a question about the immediate shared situation. That's a nearly foolproof way to start.
Yes. And maybe the absolute most important takeaway from all the material is simply to try. You have to practice. That's the key that builds confidence over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about it. Every significant connection we make, whether it ends up being a lifelong friendship, a valuable professional contact, or just a really memorable interaction with a stranger, it almost always starts with that small initial moment,
Just saying hello?
just saying hello. That little bit of effort to open the door to break the ice.
Yeah.
It really can lead to some truly great things down the line.
Well, that pretty much wraps up our deep dive into starting conversations based on all the excellent sources you provided.
It was a great topic to explore.
We truly hope that you, listening, found the insights and the practical tips helpful, and maybe, just maybe, you feel a little bit more confident now about initiating those conversations in English.
Yeah, the next time you spot an opportunity, maybe a new person at an event, a fellow traveler on the bus, someone interesting online, we really encourage you to just, go for it.
Take the plunge.
Exactly. Use one of the phrases or strategies we talked about. You might be really pleasantly surprised by the positive response you get.
And please, remember that every single conversation, even if it feels imperfect or maybe it's super short, it's still valuable practice. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't go exactly as you planned in your head.
That's so important. Give yourself credit just for making the effort. It
Huh.
genuinely does get easier the more you do it. You build that muscle.
Making that initial attempt really is the biggest hurdle for most people. With practice, you'll start to develop a more natural feel for how to open conversations in all sorts of different situations.
You really will.
Before we wrap up completely, just a quick reminder that the deep dive is available on major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and you can also find video versions, usually with subtitles, over on YouTube. We really want to be accessible to learners everywhere.
Yes, please find us wherever you prefer to listen or watch. And if this deep dive was helpful for you, please consider subscribing or following the show so you don't miss future deep dives into other interesting topics.
And if you are watching on YouTube, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. Let us know down in the comments maybe what your biggest challenge is with starting conversations, or perhaps share a tip that has worked really well for you.
Yeah, your feedback and your own experiences are incredibly valuable both to us and to other learners reading the comments. And of course, leaving a rating or a review on your podcast app really helps other English learners discover the show.
It really does. So thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into your sources on starting conversations. We really enjoyed exploring this topic with you today.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. Keep practicing that first hello. You've got this.
And happy chatting in English.